This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, conservation is set to be on display at Otago Museum later this month as visitors are being offered a peek into the protection of moa footprints. A taste of Melbourne came to Wingatui and Forbury Park racecourses yesterday, although horses were only running on one track. And a waddling Otago icon is being robbed of stardom by the STV voting system, spurring Team Hoiho into action. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Daryl Baser. Conservation will be on display at Otago Museum as visitors are offered a peek into the protection of ancient footprints. From the 20th of this month, the public can see staff working on the 6 prints extracted in a major operation from the Kyburn stream earlier this year.
Hidden beneath the Kyburn stream for millennia, now the public have their first chance to see the rare moa footprints extracted from the river earlier this year. Later this month, museum staff will work on the footprints in full view of the public. Otago Museum Conservation Manager Nissa Mildwaters says while the exhibit won't be visually dynamic, the museum understands the public are keen to see them.
Because we know how much interest there is in these and they're so unique, the museum as a whole was very keen that people could see them while they were drying out. So it's more so that people can actually get an idea of them, because I think until you've seen them it's really hard to kind of imagine them, and there's something different seeing them in person to just seeing a photo. Since
being cut out of the river, the clay footprints have been wrapped and stored at the museum, and they've also been through a full CT scan at Dunedin Public Hospital.
We actually took all the prints to go and get CT scans, so each of them got their own little individual trip up to the hospital and got scanned, so that we've got a good record of them before they get dried.
The museum's natural science coordinator Emma Burns says the samples could reveal how the moa walked, how much they weighed and how big they were. Burns says there's still much we don't know about the extinct giant birds.
There's still heaps we don't know about moa, because the main material that we have to work with in terms of moa is mostly skeletal. We do have a little bit of feather, a little bit of skin sometimes, also coprolites, which is the moa poo, so we're able to tell a little bit more about their diet. So every piece that we find that's not necessarily just skeletal is actually building a bigger picture of the different ways that moa lived in New Zealand.
The museum is still to decide where the preserved footprints will eventually go on display. In Dunedin, The South Today.
Bentleys of all ages gathered on the edge of Ashburton on Sunday at the end of 3 weeks' celebrations marking the 100 years of the luxury car manufacturer. Some 56 sparkling cars rolled into the tree-lined grounds of Bruce McElroy's Bentley Authorised Service Centre off the Methven Highway. McElroy says the rally around the country began 3 weeks ago, with the contingent arriving on Sunday after a drive from Mount Cook. The oldest car on the day was a 1923 model, with some of the newer vehicles in the rally costing in the region of $400,000. New Zealand's drivers were celebrating the Bentley factory's longevity as it remains operational to this day and is still situated near the railway town of Crewe, about 50 kilometres from Manchester. A taste of Melbourne came to both Wingatui and Forbury Park's racecourses in Dunedin yesterday, although horses only turned up at one event. Wingatui Racecourse held its annual Melbourne Cup Day, while Forbury Park Raceway held a new event entitled Ball at the Races.
Thoroughbred racehorses thundering by the winning post at Wingatui Racecourse, just north of Mosgiel on Melbourne Cup Day, cheered on by a young, well-dressed crowd. But it wasn't just horses on show, with the annual H&J Smith sponsored Fashion in the Field event drawing a large number of competitors. Desiree Bond says she enjoys what is now a tradition of mixing summer racing with stylish clothes.
I've always been a fan of the races and I love the fashion. I just think it's amazing, and I was sort of a little bit of a bet for myself. My friend Mel asked me to come and I just thought, yeah, let's give it a go.
Fashion in the field events across the region are often won by the same person entering at different racecourses wearing the same expensive clothes. But in Desiree's case, she won the event with a minimum outlay on her ensemble.
I have to thank a good friend of mine, Sophie McSkimming, for finding this coat in a suitcase that she bought from auction from a deceased estate, so I really appreciate that. And I begged and borrowed the rest of it. I actually went to Kmart and made my hat out of flowers from there last night. Quite a surprise, I'm very surprised.
However, she admitted having some familiarity with the catwalk does help.
I was born and raised in Dunedin, so I went through Vanity Walk as a younger girl, and I'm with ICANN Models in Queenstown now.
The Otago Racing Club says the event was a huge success, and police reported behaviour as being good, with just one arrest for disorder by mid-afternoon. Meanwhile, Forbury Park Raceway in South Dunedin tried something different for those who didn't want to travel far from town. Named Ball at the Races and aimed at students, the new event saw live acoustic bands and disc jockeys entertaining the crowd in between screenings of horse races from around the country and Australia. It's estimated about 1,000 people attended the 7-hour Phantom race meeting at Forbury Park. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Two men have fallen to their deaths while climbing in the Remarkables near Queenstown today. Sergeant Steve Watt of Queenstown Police says the men were roped together on a route called the Grand Traverse, which is between the summits of Single Cone and Double Cone. The pair were on a guided climb with Wanaka-based aspiring guides. The company says it's doing everything it can to support the police investigation into the incident. WorkSafe is also making initial inquiries. A waddling Otago icon is being robbed of stardom by the STV voting system. Forest and Bird released preliminary results for its Bird of the Year competition this week, prompting Team Hoiho to step up its game.
It's not every day a human-sized hoiho dances in Dunedin's octagon. Team Hoiho are a group of people who are determined to have the highly endangered penguin named Bird of the Year in the annual competition run by Forest and Bird.
We're in the second week of voting and we don't want to get complacent. We are ranked second at the moment in the polls and we want to make sure that we take the top spot come Monday morning.
Mel Young is jointly leading the fight to have the yellow-eyed penguin soar above the competition and has been working with the endangered bird for many years.
I've worked on the front line with hoiho for over 15 years. We've seen a massive decline in the numbers of hoiho nesting on the Otago coast and yeah, we really want the birds to win this year because they're not winning in real life. We need to educate everyday New Zealanders that these birds are actually going extinct on mainland New Zealand.
Former Dunedin Mayor Dave Cull, the Otago University Students Association and new City Councillor Steve Walker are among the heavyweights flocking to endorse the hoiho. Mel Young says the coastal seabird is one of a handful of seriously endangered birds in the competition and says there are many things people can do in everyday life to help the species.
There are a range of issues that are affecting hoiho, from adult survival issues, starvation, poor juvenile survival, as well as really poor chick survival. So we have a number of issues that are mostly linked to starvation events, acute starvation events, and then we have all of the other things that we can control, the likes of unregulated ecotourism, being good and not taking our dogs to beaches where hoiho breed or when they come ashore of molt, and just making sure that we look after them.
Forest and Bird spokeswoman Megan Hubsher says the hoiho has the highest number of first preference votes, but as the competition is being run in the single transferable vote or STV system in which voters rank candidates, hoiho is in second to the kakapo. But help might be in the wings.
And so this year we've banded together with the other penguin species, that's Team Rockhopper, Team Tāwaki and Team Korora, and we've formed a penguin coalition. Yesterday, after votes were announced, Team Rockhopper have decided to fall on their sword and they're asking for all of their supporters to vote one hoiho and Rockhopper second. So we're really hoping that a penguin takes the crown this year.
Team Hoiho hopes the Penguin Coalition can be the wind beneath their wings. Yellow-eyed Penguin Trust General Manager Sue Murray is encouraging people to vote for the bird and says the penguin is 100% being robbed by the STV system. Online voting is at www.birdoftheyear.org.nz and closes at 5 p.m. on Sunday. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today. As temperatures heat up, swarms of bees are being reported around the region, and the new citizens are welcomed in Wanaka. See you after the break.
Lana Castle is proud to showcase their new retail space. Simply purchase an annual garden pass for year-round access to the garden, cafe and gift shop, or apply for a host card giving you full access to the castle, ballroom, cafe, gift shop and garden when accompanied by a full paying guest. Check out the website for full terms and conditions.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Step into Ross Cafe, located at Ross Home in North East Valley. We have a great range of hot and cold food, friendly service and a warm atmosphere that you are sure to enjoy. We look forward to serving you soon at Ross Cafe.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
No mai no. Thanks for staying with us. 92 people became New Zealand citizens at the Lake Wanaka Centre yesterday afternoon. However, almost all of them had to travel from Queenstown for the ceremony.
Today, you receive not only your citizenship, but also three special and precious things: opportunity, respect, and joy.
The decision to hold the citizenship ceremony in Wanaka was a way of saying thanks to the many Upper Clutha residents who'd travelled to Queenstown for past citizenship events. Queenstown Lakes District Mayor Jim Bolt welcomed home the many former citizens from around the world, including England, Australia, Ireland, Europe and the Pacific. As spring brings warmer weather to the south, swarms of bees are being reported around the region. Southland Bee Society member Jeff Scott says he's been called out several times to pick up swarms of honeybees and their queens, searching for a new place to form a colony.
Beekeeper Jeff Scott of the Southland Bee Society is always happy to collect any of the bee swarms brought out by the warm weather. He says it took him very little effort to extract this particular swarm and rehouse it in a hive box.
Sometimes they'll be up a pear pole, or they can be inside of the eaves of the building. So this is a really easy one, but they're not always this easy.
Once the bees are safe in their box, the colony is to be kept in a quarantine yard for a year and a half to check for the highly contagious American foul brood disease, and also to see if the hive is actually viable with a fertile impregnated queen.
So sometimes in a hive like this, this could even be a virgin queen that's come out of a hive that was really strong, and it could be like a secondary swarm as well. So
he says this colony would have been planning to just cluster up on the fence for a few days while looking for a more suitable place to settle down and build the bee cells needed for a hive.
Bees would have gone out looking for, some go out looking for food and bring it back in, but others go out, and I call them real estate bees. They'll go around looking for holes in buildings and trees for the next hive, and then they'll come back and they'll do a little dance on that cluster there and tell the bees, and then I'll have a couple of bees that'll go and have a look, make a decision, and then they'll lead that whole swarm to that thing. And if you ever get a chance to see that, it's really interesting, because you'll see like how many bees can fit through a tiny hole in minutes is unreal.
He says a bee swarm on the loose is unlikely to become aggressive, and members of the bee society are always keen to take them away to a good home.
Leave them alone and let them cluster up where they were there, and then just find someone that can take them away. But they don't want to spray water on them or anything like that, because that does make them angry and it just drives them away. But if you just leave them alone and just call the beekeeper, they'll come and pick them up.
A large swarm can contain around 60,000 bees, but this was a small one of about 20,000. In Invercargill, the South Today.
And after the break on the South Today, an Owaka resident is hoping to swap memories with some like-minded souls, and we have a look at the outlook for Thursday and heading into the weekend. See you soon.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
If you're suffering from sciatica, lower back pain, hips and pelvis and knees, this technique will work wonders for you. The energy flow is transmitting through the muscles. Come and see Sunny Chin.
Step into Op Shop on St Andrew and discover a place with plenty of bargains for yourself, your friends and the whole family. We have new items arriving every day. Visit us for a fabulous range of economy and upmarket clothing, accessories, books, shoes and more. Shop with us and support your community.
When it's time to say goodbye to your pet, Heaven Sent Pet Cremations are here to help you through this difficult experience. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today for their care and guidance. Phone 489-2274. If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Step into Shop on Carroll and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Thanks for staying with us. Fergus Gregory of Owaka has fond memories of long summers spent at the family crib at Jacks Bay. And he's reaching out to anyone who's holidayed there more than 50 years ago to share their memories with him.
Did you holiday at Jacks Bay in the 1950s or 60s? Fergus Gregory of Owaka says he has fond memories of the fun-filled summer days as a child there at his family's crib, and would like to arrange a social gathering to reconnect with old holiday pals from those decades.
It was a great place for kids in those days to have a good time on the beach and in the rocks, fishing. And the 50s are getting on, and some of them are not with us anymore, of course. So if we don't do something soon, that'll be lost and gone forever. So my idea is to get enough people to have a afternoon tea or a lunch at the Owaka Hall where we can all meet and have some good time remembering what used to go on at Jacks Bay.
But access to Jacks Bay is not the easy trip it is today.
We'd come over the hill, down through the gate at the bottom, and would have to drive down onto the beach to get to the other end because there was no track along the back of the beach. And if the tide was out, we'd get along, otherwise we'd sit there and wait till the tide went out before we could drive along to the other end. And no power. The only water supply was a spring that Dad had put a piece of galvanised pipe in. You could put the bucket under. That's why he built his crib where it is now, because the spring's just right behind and it's still running. And we used to go down and folk would go away fishing. There would be various sorts of boats that they'd have, and I can remember them talking about going to False Island and out to the Groper Fields and Whitehead. They're all mysterious places to us kids, with these strange names. And they'd catch enough fish to eat for the day and perhaps tomorrow, because there was no power, no refrigerators, no fridges. And people just went there and stayed. They didn't get in the car and pop into a whack of Balclutha or shoot home to Gore. That just didn't happen. I can remember my father taking me inside the blowhole one time in a rowboat. And some of that is still on footage here of Jacks Bay. He'd row all the way around from the bay and row into the blowhole if the weather was right. I can't remember life jackets and those sorts of things, but...
His dad, Alexander Gregory, was a well-known amateur filmmaker from Gore who recorded the family holidays at Jacks Bay. Fergus says he's now hard at work digitalising the old film stock to show at the reunion.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. Conservation is set to be on display at Otago Museum, with visitors being offered a peek into the protection of moa footprints. A taste of Melbourne came to both Wingatui and Forbury Park racecourses in Dunedin yesterday, but horses were only running on one local track. And a waddling Otago icon is being robbed of stardom by the STV voting system, spurring on Team Hoiho. Now time for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's Otago Day Times. Welcome, Mr. Hayden Meikle.
Good evening, Daryl. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Yourself?
Good. Let's start with a photo tonight. This
fascinating image is an example of 50, I think it is, 50 lifelike, I guess, statues, for want of a better word, dummies, mannequins. And they're the work of a Dunedin bloke, Frank Varsagni. They're incredible things. They're on display actually in a store in Princes Street, Dunedin. So read tomorrow's ODT all about them and then head out and have a bit of a look. They are extraordinary pieces of work. They're so lifelike they're almost unlifelike.
So they're 3D sculptures?
They are literally sculptures, statues. I'm not 100% sure what they're made of. We'll find out more in tomorrow's story, I'm sure. But they look incredible anyway. They're based on sort of real-life tribes from various countries around the world. So really interesting, page one, graphically. Our main story tomorrow, this terrible tragedy at the Remarkables near Queenstown. 2 climbers have fallen to their deaths. We have limited details so far. There'll be more coming out, I'm sure, in tomorrow's paper. Very, very sad, and we wait to find out what happened there. The big court case obviously continues, as it does and will do for many weeks here in Dunedin, that trial. We've spoken to some businesses who are about to be displaced. Obviously there's a very large project about to begin in Dunedin, the hospital rebuild, and of course numerous businesses are going to have to relocate, so we're in the process of tracking down a lot of them and the Ministry of Health to have a chat to them about plans for what's going to happen. And a little bit of a basketball theme. I know it's November, it's not really basketball season, the Rugby World Cup's over, winter sport's finally finished, but Jeff Cheshire has looked into the future of the Nuggets, obviously back into the National League in a couple of years, but they will be playing some games next year. And he's had a look at the real boom of Otago kids playing college basketball in America, which is a fabulous development, great opportunity for them, and who knows, fingers crossed some of those kids can come back and play for the Nuggets or the Gold Rush someday. That would be great.
Excellent, all that and more. Thanks Hayden, appreciate
Thanks,
that. Time now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with tonight's southern view, flags flying over shops in South Dunedin. Looking at the situation, a trough of low pressure moves across the Tasman Sea tomorrow and Friday, hitting New Zealand at the weekend, bringing warm northwesterly winds ahead of cooler southwesterlies arriving next week. Looking at the southern towns, everyone can look forward to freshening northwesterlies with cloud increasing. The Catlins, Gore, Balclutha and Lumsden can all expect 17 degrees. Travelling westwards to the Central Lakes region, Wanaka and Queenstown and Alexandra are all in for moderate northwesterlies and some cloud. Wanaka aims for 17, Queenstown 18 and Alexandra should get to 20, while Te Anau is set for 15 degrees and you could expect rain later. Heading up to the northern towns, along the coast, Timaru and Oamaru are set for light winds and high cloud. Timaru heads for 20 and Oamaru for 18. Further inland, Twizel and Omarama are also set for moderate northwesterlies and some cloud with 18 degrees. In Dunedin tonight, northwesterlies at an overnight low of 10, low cloud tomorrow morning and a few light showers possible in the middle of the day, a high of 16 and a low of 10. Sunny periods and some high cloud on Friday with mild moderate northeasterlies, a high of 17 and a low of 13. In Invercargill tonight, fine with light winds, a low of overnight low of 11. Mild and northwesterlies freshening tomorrow with high cloud increasing, some rain at night, a high of 17 and a low of 13. Cloudy on Friday with rain at times and fresh northwesterly winds, a high of 15 and a low of 12. And that's all from the South Today team for this Wednesday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Have a great evening. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.